Hatep family, Hatep Yasar, and peace. Hatep Liya Antut, Rahubat Wu Hatup, that's greetings and peace. Just wanted to do a quick dialogue or a quick lecture on what is in the paradigm or shift that we are dealing with, which is now known as woman taking over and becoming God once again. The whole point of, if you remember the Black Book that came out in '98, Black Book 1, that was, of course, scribed and authored by my father, Dr. York, was the reemergence of the knowledge that is woman is God. Not saying that he was the only one that taught it ever, but he made it very easy to say. And he gave scientific facts to prove what he was saying. And one of the main things that he did, aside from dealing with mitochondrial DNA that's passed down from the woman, from the mother to the daughter, and not the mother to the son, or the father to the son, is that he dealt with the fact of the predate reality, that woman predates man by thousands of years. What's also supported in that is that the first hunter-gatherers on the planet that comes out of Ethiopia and also comes out of South Africa, which was the Grimaldi women, was, of course, Ethiopia Kushite, and then South Africa was Grimaldi, two different tribes, both African, which gives reasonable reality, and this is historical fact, that even Caucasians, or what you now know as white or Neanderthals, have confessed to. The reality also is dealing with right reasoning, is that when you deal with numbers, when you outnumber a group as much as women outnumbering men, that also stands to reason that there's a certain amount that was already here prior to us as men, as the males, coming through the Stargate that is the womb of the woman. You understand? And dealing with that situation, you have to take into account what the religious aspect of Adam and Eve stemming from. You understand? When we read the Bible, we deal with Adam and Eve, putting man into a deep sleep, etc., 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 and removing the rib, dealing with the bone marrow, because why they deal with the rib, and why did they deal with the rib specifically? Because the rib or the bone marrow has a certain amount of DNA in it. But what they do not teach you is that there's a gap in between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, there's a gap in between, because if you realize within the Bible, I'm jumping around for just a minute, I'm gonna get back on focus to woman being God, is that you are seeing the fact that of plagiarism, because the Bible was plagiarized for what's known as the Enuma Elish, or what we know as the Sumerian Bible, what Zecharia Sitchin made famous. Okay, but when they plagiarize this information to create the Old Testament, they put it together. What they tried to try to put it together on a chronological level, but they failed. But what they did not teach you was that Adam, who was known as Atum or Chedman, Atum was his father, and Chedman was the Canaan or Canaanites, not the Canaanites, we're speaking for the Bible as the Canaanites that were white, but the Canaanites, which was known as the eight ether beings. He was put in a deep sleep by the Ethiopians, okay? And dealing with the Ethiopian gods that were the pygmies, he was put in a deep sleep, and from that test was what Eve came out of, was known as Hawa, according to their tablets. But do realize this is only a 49,000-year-old information, because in an actual fact that my father wrote called Inca's Creator, we understand that their information, what is this, the Sumerian tablets, where they deal with the Enuma Elish or Gilgamesh epics, is only 49,000 years old. But dealing with the African itself, that's boundless millions and millions and billions of years old. So we're dealing with a time where if for me to quote something to you, I have to deal with what you would already know. So going back to woman being God, you understand? We're going into a paradigmal shift. And going into a paradigmal shift, you have to realize that it's the reemergence. See, we're dealing with one aspect of the sun heat gene coming in, okay? Which means that those who do not have the sun heat gene, and also those who are melanated, that have not purified self and have not purified their melanin, will also be burnt. You will not be able or know how to adjust to the sun heat gene. So this is also a reality, okay? And now woman being God is a reality, because going back to the Bible and going back to that and dealing with right reasoning and non-reasoning is that man has never given birth to anything at all. Woman is who gives birth. When you are coming from a woman, as a man, you understand that the first God that you saw was that woman. The first God that you know is of the woman, is the woman. Man taught that you had to see God as a man, as a heavenly father, as the divine sperm, this and that. That is man creating that out of an inferiority complex. You understand? Religion is man-based. You understand? So if you're dealing with right reasoning, sound right reasoning, facts, every man came from a woman. No woman ever came from a man. You understand? When a man ejaculates into a woman, and that melanin hits from the melanin-based sperm into the melanin-based ovum to fertilize, what's coming from that is a spark. You follow? But the reality is that within the woman, all of the cells that's needed, the generations that is supposed to be created, is within that woman, not within the man. He gives a spark, the spark of life, the spark to create and to ignite that life. But coming out of her is what is containing the generations that's needed and the mitochondria to continue. You have to have a daughter in order to continue your family lineage. Without the mitochondria, everything else makes no difference. You can have a male child, but he does not complete the family. You have somewhere within your family, you have to have a female child. That's very necessary. You have to have a daughter. You understand? And going into what we talk about dealing with sex. Sex is important for many reasons, of course, because of affection and to show how much you care for an individual. But orgasms are very necessary. When you want to take the woman to the next level of the paradigmal shift, you want to give the woman the orgasm that she needs in order to align herself with that earth. Woman is sun, moon, and earth at one time. You understand? Sun, because she is what gives, she is that dark matter being, because the sun is really black because of the combination of all existing gases of nature that is nine ether. And moon, because she is also dictated because of the menstrual cycle, because of the positions of the moon in certain quarters of the moon. You understand? She reflects the light of the sun, meaning that, first thing, man is sun at one point when he brings in knowledge to the woman. You understand? And once he is done doing that, it is his job to get her to recognize that divine reality, that she is God. So you are giving that information to that woman, that she, because of that point, when you're giving it to the woman as man, she's moon. She's reflecting that energy. She's reflecting that divine outformation. And then that transforms her into the sun. That reflects that energy to the small sons that will be her seed, sons and daughters. And then being earth, you understand, she is connected because since we've been here, she has had to reduce her vibrational level down to being what we know as a woman, being known as, a human being. Overstand. So, being that when you are human and when you are confined to the physical and what makes people be able to withstand Earth's realities, because you have to be able to adjust. When you are on a planet, whatever specific planet it is, your body has to be able to survive on the planet. So your body is made and created in order to how the planet is. You understand? Human beings are made to be on the planet. That means that you have been reduced to survive on this planet. So the next level is the next phase of being on this planet is to graduate and transform into a whole different being. That's a whole different class. But again, woman is God, and she needs to get back to that reality of being of who she is. And we have to humble ourselves as men to be able to put her back on the throne as God. It's not about putting man down or anything. We coexist as divine equality. If we can't do that, then it makes no difference. You would never put no one over yourself, and or never put yourself over anybody else, because that would not be equality. But being that as woman, as God, that needs to be a consciousness that us as black men or as African men, non-ether beings within our own right, has to get the African woman, the black woman, whatever have you, to come to that same reality and that divine reality. Overstood, family. Tawahat, Hatep, everyone, Hatep Yasar, and I want to say Istanje, Ilakul, and Wadu.